We're going to begin section 4 looking at the equation of a circle. And this is going to make the connection between circles and coordinate geometry so we can plot circles on the coordinate plane. The key idea here is that we have a basic equation. We have x minus the x coordinate of the center of the circle, and we call that x coordinate h. So x minus whatever the x coordinate is of the center of your circle, and we're going to square that. And then we have the y part, so plus y minus the y coordinate of the center of the circle, and in that case we're going to call that k. And the only reason we use h and k is because x and y are already taken and we had to pick two different letters, so h and k don't really stand for anything in particular. And then that is going to equal the radius squared. So the x piece, how far the x coordinate is away from the center of the circle squared, plus how far the y coordinate is from the center of the circle squared, should equal the radius squared. It follows the same basic format as the distance formula or Pythagorean theorem. So now let's practice doing that. Write an equation for a circle with a radius of 4 centered around the origin. Now the origin is the point 0, 0. As we write this out, we're going to use 0, 0 as our h and our k. So we're going to write this in the form x minus 0, because that's our h, square that, plus y minus k, and that's 0 again, square that, is equal to our radius squared, and our radius here is 4. So x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 4 squared. If we clean that up a little bit, we can get that x minus 0 is just x, so x squared, plus y minus 0 is just y, so y squared, and 4 squared is 16. So this is the form that you would want to clean it up to if you are able to. Next problem says write an equation for the circle with radius 5 centered at 1, negative 8. Same idea here, except this time we're going to have x minus, and our x coordinate is not going to be 0, so it's going to be 1. So x minus 1. Square that, plus y minus, this time it is negative 8. So y minus a negative 8 is the same as y plus a positive 8. So make sure that's plus there. Square that one too. And it's going to equal our radius squared, so 5 squared. If we were to clean that up, the only thing we really need to change is 5 squared would become 25. And then that one's ready to go. Continuing the pattern, we have another circle here. We see our center. Even though it's graphed, we still know the center. It's going to be x minus our x coordinate squared plus y minus our y coordinate squared is equal to our radius squared. If we want to find our radius, counting the boxes is not going to work because you can see it doesn't end on a very nice spot here. What we do know, however, though, is we have a center of the circle and an endpoint. And that right there is a radius. Whenever we go from the center to an endpoint, we have a radius. So if we take that radius and then squared it, that would be our missing term that we have down here. So let's go ahead and find the distance between these. Distance between our x values is 2. So 2 squared plus our distance between our y values is 4. 8 and 4 are 4 apart. And so 2 squared plus 4 squared is equal to 4 plus 16, which is equal to 20. And all of those are equal to the radius squared. So 20 is equal to r squared. Now we could say, okay, the radius is the square root of 20. Write that in there nicely. And then when we take the square root of 20, we could square it and get square root of 400. And that would reduce down to 20. Or we could just realize that, oh, r squared equals 20. I'm looking for r squared, not for r. Throw 20 right in there. So x minus 2 quantity squared plus y minus 4 quantity squared is equal to 20. And we have graphing this circle. This one's working in the opposite direction. X plus 6. And whenever we have plus, we know it's minus a negative 6. It's really x minus negative 6. So we're going to go backwards 6. And then y squared by itself is really y minus 0. So that means we go 0 up. So we are, in fact, right there as our center. And it equals 25. So square root of 25 is 5, so the radius equals 5. And we count 5 out in any given direction. And our circle then is going to be something like this here. And it carries over into the next problem.